Hey, everybody. How are we doing this wonderful Monday evening? We're going to do a Facebook Live and on how to use ABO, or what we all love to shorten it as ABO, but really it's Awana Basics Online. And my team here in West Texas, Eastern New Mexico, and now Western Oklahoma, I couldn't do this by myself. So we have Jeff Gilpin. It's going to join us. He's going to help me with this. And we're going just to have fun. But Jeff, do me a favor. Will you tell everybody what your area is or what's your role in Awana?
So my area, my direct area is the state of Nevada, the state of Utah, Eastern Sierra of California. So all the ski towns, northern Arizona, and southwest Wyoming. So very large geographic area, very similar to yours. A lot of land, not too many people, cows, horses, similar to West Texas.
Same thing we've got out here.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the thing that Jeff didn't mention, he's my boss. No. In Awana, we're put into teams, and every team has to have a leader. And Jeff is our leader of our team. And so I'm glad that Jeff could jump on and help us out here tonight. So Jeff, I said that ABO is Awana Basics Online. What is that? Why do we have that? What's the scoop?
So yeah, Awana Basics Online, or we shorten it to ABO, is an online tool available to churches, member churches, and I'm really excited for it, or for that, especially for people that have a lot of geographic area, so that you can. It's a tool that Awana Ministry directors can use, club directors can use, or leaders can use to train new leaders, or provide a refresher to existing leaders on the basics of Awana. And it covers everything from puggles all the way to Journey. It's got a game director track. It's got secretary track. It's got a message from our CEO and president, Matt Markins. I think the cool thing about it is leaders can use it on their own time. It's just a good tool for now. One thing is there is a login. So I think, Melanie, you're going to talk about that, and you got the URL right there for Awana Basics, but there is a login, and so maybe you could talk a little bit about that and how they have access to it.
Absolutely. Like Jeff said, we put the website address here on the screen for everybody, but I wanted just to share my screen, so give me 2 seconds to get this going. And what I'm going to show you after we get over there, once you get to awanabasics.awana.org, this is where you are. This is the main screen. And Jeff was mentioning a second ago, the message from Matt Markins, who is now our new CEO as of beginning of January. That is a great message. Then you see all of the individual pieces and parts. I mean, we have something for the Awana Ministry director. There is a training module for the secretary, for the game director. If you notice, they're up here at the top. Everybody thinks we just hide them. Nope, they're right here at the top. And then here is the individual club pieces. Down here on the bottom of the screen is where I'm going to start, and then I'll go back up to the top of our screen. Here are a couple of videos. Here's one for manager leaders on My Awana. This is where the AMD, children's directors, y'all will set up and manage all of your leaders and get the login information done. And here's a great My Awana tutorial on how to use it and how to get going with it. So once you get your leaders with their login information, you'll come back up here to the top and click the login. Once you get to the login, after you logged in, then you can go to whichever one of the clubs or trainings you're supposed to do. So if I'm the If I'm a Sparks leader, past the Sparks, then I could go straight here to the Sparks and do the trainings. Now, there's one thing I want to mention. This login that we're talking about right here, this is for Awana registered churches. That means you have to be registered. The church has to pay their membership. Sorry, I'll get my words out in an hour or two, but the church needs to pay their Awana membership so that you can get into this login. The cool part about that membership, it's $99 until July 1st each year. And that gets you a 30% discount on any products that you purchase with Awana. And then that's what lets you get to this training. So that's kind of how that works and how you get the logins done. So Jeff, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and tell me, how do we use Awana or the Awana Basics Online? How would we use that in the fall? Uh-oh, Jeff, we lost your volume.
Oh, there you go. A couple things I didn't mention. In that training, it's not just the how-tos, but there's also a section on there on the gospel and, some vision and bigger picture of Awana. So for you, Awana Ministry directors, club directors who maybe have been around for a while, you're excited about the ministry, but how do you pass on that vision and that to your other leaders so that they don't view this as just something to keep the kids busy on a Wednesday night during the adult service, but how do you pass on that vision? So that's part of that training as well. Very valuable. And then the gospel. Sometimes we assume that every one of our leaders is saved, and maybe not. So for you as a club director or Awana Ministry director to constantly having the gospel at the center of your ministry, by having that gospel training is important as well. So how do you use this thing? So excuse me. The beginning of the year, we all start, club runs September through May, August through April, something like that. And so most of us have a leader kickoff meeting. And so I'll just give you a couple thoughts is you can have a leader kickoff meeting where you get all your leaders together and you're going to talk about the year and so on and so forth. You could maybe send that ABO out, set up an email template and send that ABO out. Maybe in that template have a child protection training link. Maybe have your background, if you're going to do child background screening, on that link too. And then have your leaders go through that training before your kickoff meeting. So you could do that. So then at the kickoff meeting, you can answer questions and kind of fill in the blanks. A lot of those leaders maybe hopefully have watched it by then. And so they might have some questions. And I would suggest too, the way we would do our kickoff meetings is if you're a Awana Ministry director, have some general meeting time for everybody, and then break up your group into Cubby, Sparks, TNT, whatever clubs you have, and then tell your club directors, hey, it's your responsibility to equip your leaders so that they can make sure that they can answer questions. Maybe your club's a little different, adapts a little way, and so they can take that Awana training and customize it. So the other thing you can do is have your leader kickoff meeting and then give out the ABO link, tell people you're going to be email them the link or however you want to get it to them. Just give it the URL right then and say, hey, by the first night of club, can you finish this? Can you do the background, whatever, however you want to do that, so that maybe by the first week of club that you can, if you're a club director, you can answer questions, you can help your leaders through that. So that's a good process. And the cool thing about it, all your leaders can watch that when they're at the beach or at the pool, or they can do it on their own time, maybe when the kids are in bed, or it's a great way to equip your leaders where they can do it on their own time. And So yeah, that's at the beginning of the year. I think that's the best way to do it. Or I guess I would say do it some way, have equipping. If you're the AMD or the club director, a large part of your role is not as much executing ministry as equipping other people to execute ministry. And so you want to be thinking about that. How are you going to equip your leaders? And so yeah, I think that's my thoughts on beginning of the year training.
And hey, Jeff, I wanted to add to what you were saying. You were talking about the gospel presentation. There's more than just what to do with this cubby, this 4-year-old thing that I have all night long. Okay, there's more in that training. You were talking about the gospel presentation. A lot of times we may have saved leaders, but they're just not comfortable sharing the gospel. They're just not sure exactly how to do it. It's always good to watch that and get reminded, get some ideas about how to present the gospel.
I think too is as you're to encourage leaders that have been around for a while to go through that as a refresher.
Yeah,
they might pick something up, and or if you're, let's say you've been a Awana leader for a long time, if you watch that training and then you have new leaders that watch it and they ask you some questions, you could say, hey, remember in the part in that video where they talk about X, Y, and Z? Yeah, that's the answer to your question. And so you're kind of educated on what they're learning, so that helps you equip them better.
Yeah. So this is a great way to get the year started. But a lot of people think we're done with training. Come September, we're done with this training thing, right? Well, I wish that was the truth, but I am sure everybody who watches this will have new leaders in about November, December, January. You're going to bring in new people to help replace those who have to take a couple of months off. And it's hard to do I'll train you and then I'll train you and then I'll train you. Well, that's what I'm really stoked personally about the Awana Basics Online is that we can point those leaders or brand new leaders in the middle of the year. We can point them here and let them do the training. And for the Awana Ministry directors, the AMDs, we're not getting stressed trying to spin too many plates at one time. And I mean, everything's exactly the same. This way we can let those leaders watch these videos and get this training. And then we can sit down and say, okay, what were your questions? How can we help you? What did you not get or not understand? And probably these leaders may have been to a club night a couple of times. So they can kind of see what's been going. Now they can start matching the whys and the hows. So I think that's really important.
Mel, I think you're absolutely right, because when I was the Awana Administrative Director, we had a lot of leaders who came in November, December, something like that. And, you'd have whatever Bob says, hey, I want to start serving. And I didn't have a plan or a process to sort of assimilate him into the ministry. Mm-hmm. And he would come really not know what to do. And we lost a lot of our volunteers because they would show up and you'd say, hey, follow Mary. And Mary didn't know how to train. She didn't have any tools to do it. So now you have a process to assimilate new people throughout the whole year into serving. And you're absolutely right that, there's training that goes on all year long.
Yeah. I mean, and even for the people we did train back in August, September, how many times do we need a refresher? Just that, what was it that one, I know we learned something about that gospel thing. It's a circle. Okay. We all know it's a gospel wheel. What I love about having this Awana Basics Online is that, if I'm having a question, I can go back in whenever this entire time. I mean, it could be in March. I could jump on the ABO and I can go find that video or that spot and see what they said about it. And a lot of the leaders, I think if they had that opportunity, they would be jumping out and saying, hey, this is what I needed remembered, or that would help them feel more confident, more encouraged that they know what they're doing. And then we won't even talk about the leaders that trained 5 years ago that think they know everything. This is a great chance for them to go back and just be reminded, why are we doing this? What is this? What's the importance of Awana? What's the importance of children's ministry? So I think it's a great chance for even them to jump on, make a swing back through, and just get, sometimes it's not, I have to be reminded of what I'm doing. Or Jeff, you can see if you've had this problem, if you've seen this with your churches doing this, but sometimes just that little bit of encouragement to keep going, because you're probably tired by this time.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So, Jeff, we've talked about this Awana Basics. I think we've, talked about how to use it at the beginning of the year. We've talked about how to use it during the year. Any other thoughts about how to do it or why to do it?
It's a great tool. Just use it. And you could use it at the beginning of the year, middle of the year. If you're a Sparks director, you could pick out small parts of the training, the video training, send it out to your leaders and say, hey, watch 5 minutes of this ABO, and let's at our prayer meeting, or, if we're going to pray before club, let's just take 1 or 2 minutes and see what you got. I mean, use it in just however you want to use it, but it's a great tool, and use it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Well, Jeff, I think that's pretty much it for us for tonight. I wanted to let everybody know, as we've talked, if you've got questions, comments, thoughts, please call me, text me. You can message me, throw in the comment section for this Facebook Live. Throw it out there, ask it. Please don't send smoke signals because, one, our area has gotten too large for that. But more importantly, we got some weather issues coming up. And I'm scared that if you send me a smoke signal, one of the Awana missionaries in Florida might be the one who's going to get it. They'll be confused. Jeff, I know that with you living in Truckee, California, you never have any snow.
Never.
And you'll never have any of this winter weather. He lives in a ski resort, people. He knows that's the joke. But I really appreciate you giving up your time this evening. Yep. And we'll have another Facebook Live sometime in the future.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great evening.